There's a great series on Disney Plus called Limitless, and it was created by Chris Hemsworth and a team of experts around him. And it's a really lovely series, and it's about how to live a healthier and longer life, basically. And there were some really lovely parts to it. There were some great experts who came in, and there were things about it that really frustrated me because I feel like they missed the kind of point of all of the issues that Chris actually had. And he told them his issue in the very first few minutes of the first episode when he was driving in a car to go and see the tower that he was going to do the walk off. So this huge building way up high, and he was going to do a walk off that on a steel beam. They worked on things like feel the fear and do it anyway. How do you do really hard things when you put yourself under enormous amounts of pressure? How do you get yourself out there to actually do them anyway? And he worked with an expert on that, and that was, fair enough. And then it was putting him in more intense situations, like he had to go in and regulate his breathing in a house fire. And then he did something in cold water. So not just doing cold water plunge, they went to some ridiculously cold place and he actually swam and surfed out in the ocean, and it was incredible to watch. And then they did more around cognitive things too. So they talked to him about, he actually has some markers that show on both sides of his family that dementia is something that could be in his future. But now that they've found it early, they can actually help and guide him on that. And so to keep his mind active, he went out with a beautiful Indigenous friend of his, and they journeyed with nothing but some food and cameramen, but the cameraman had nothing to do with it other than filming. And they navigated their way just with using their brains. And then there was a really lovely episode on acceptance. And acceptance is we all die eventually. None of us get out of life alive. And that was probably my favorite episode. I cried a lot of tears in that one because I saw the vulnerability for him and his wife, and it's a really beautiful thing to watch. What they did was they tried to stem everything on a scientific and biological level. So they tried positive self-talk, and they tried things, and it worked for him to get across the steel thing as he was walking out. And then they tried breathing and other things for him to do the other tasks. And then the acceptance was just coming to accept that he's going to die. And with the brain thing, it was just ways to kind of switch off from technology and get out there and be in nature and open your brain and keep it working. If we stop it from working, then it's going to, go to rack and ruin like it does in so many people. Now, what they never dealt with, and he talked about his inability to sleep, how he's quite restless at night, how he never feels like he's quite made enough money. And he told them why that was. And he said, when I was a child, my parents never had much money, so I went into acting literally to be able to make money so my parents didn't have to worry about money anymore. Now, that whole series never once addressed his core wound. And it blows my mind how they have these series, and it was a really good series, but it sat at the same level as the model of Western psychology and science, which is just a top level. They never dealt with the thing that he told them in the first 5 minutes of the whole series, which was his core wound. Had they actually dealt with his core wound, about that part of him that needs to feel like he's enough so he doesn't have to chase all the time, no movie and no amount of money is ever going to make him feel safe in his body if he's still that little boy chasing the need to make his parents okay, even though he's done it already. He's made millions and millions of dollars, and he doesn't ever have to work another day in his life. But he will continue to do so because of that driving need from childhood. So when he came to acceptance at the end of the last episode, they took him on a simulation of his death. A death doula came in and did the meditation and talk that she does when somebody's going to their death. And basically he saw the people around him, and when he came out of the meditation, he said, well, this is a Sunday at my house. I've already got everything that I want. And he vowed to take more time to actually sit back and relax and enjoy his family and the people he loves in his life who've come around on a Sunday. And so he said he's taking a break from filming. But my challenge here is that he can sit there on a Sunday in that room with his family, but unless he's dealt with that core wound, he is going to have that voice in his head that is still going on and on and on, that you can't be sitting here, you need to be out there working. And he's going to have that constant argument going on of the voice that he's trying to quiet. When you come and work with me, we don't need to do the 5 steps that they took him through in Limitless. I'm going to take you to that core wound from the very start, and we are going to gently, safely, and really beautifully heal that so that you know that you are enough. You are enough exactly as you are. There is nothing you need to do to be enough. There's nothing you have to achieve to be enough. And there's a lot of stuff in there that he would need to work with in order to feel those things. So I hope that's a really good example of the different way that I work, how I'm going to go to the core healing, so that when you have to do extreme things, you're actually going as a whole person and you have such confidence in who you are. You know you're enough, you believe in yourself, and you're able to achieve great things, not from a place of feel the fear and do it anyway, from a place of I am enough and I know that I'm enough and I know I can do great things. And you'll challenge yourself and you'll do extraordinary things, not from a place of fear, but from a place of enoughness and drive. And if that sounds like something that's really interesting to you, I've actually got a masterclass coming up, and it's all around how that core wound that I just spoke about that Chris has, how it was actually created in your life. Because awareness is this first stage of healing, coming to understand why it is that these things happened. And then I'm going to show you the steps that you need to do and the levels that you need to do to actually heal that. If you would like to join me in this free masterclass, it's happening through a Facebook group. So if you comment on this reel, I will actually send you an invitation to join the group where you can learn where these core wounds are coming from and the steps and stages and levels you need to do to heal them.